I wanted to give a little update on what I've been up to in terms of uploads to my acalaacala channel. And as you can see, any of you who have been sort of following me, it's been kind of a potpourri of different offerings based primarily on sharing aspects of the Buddha Dharma or the Buddhist teachings. A couple of just sort of housekeeping things. First off is that you'll notice that I have a new light that may give a little sharper picture of my face and background area when I'm in front of the camera, which again, the audio on those particular videos may not be quite as good, but anyhow, I feel moved to do this from time to time. And the background, of course, is not necessarily the best, but it actually is a closet in my home office area where I've put up a couple of scrolls so as to, make it a little bit more pleasant. Also, from time to time in this particular video, I'm hearing a bit of a sound outside. Generally, when I recite using my Bluebird mic and I'm doing recitation directly into the microphone, I'm quite careful about stopping my recitation at points in time when, for example, cars go by. I don't have a great kind of studio type setup here, so it's sort of crude and amateurish, but hopefully the content is what's important. With respect to the content, I'm doing a number of things. I'm still doing a few aspects of Edward Kanz's translations in the Buddhist texts through the ages volume. I'm sort of winding down on that. I'm also winding down on D.T. Suzuki's studies in the Lankavatara Sutra, although the recitation of the sutra itself on an unabridged basis is a long-term project. Some parts of which may be of greater interest than others in terms of their profundity or the logic that they encompass. Again, other parts may be a little more obtuse, but I know that at least a few of you are following those upload snippets. I'm doing still just a little bit more of Ibn, the poet, in terms of some of the things that his disciples said that he said. And you notice I put a Rilke poem on there. This actually was something that, as I indicated in the description, that I recited at the end of a meeting of an interfaith council that I'm a member of as an inspirational reading. And you can take it for what it's worth. It is more perhaps Christian oriented, but I think Rilke at that stage was more of a mystic than anything else, and that some of his offerings do resonate with people of Buddhist lineage, and in particular that specific translation by those two women, and you'll have to go there to see the names. I think it's Barrows and Macy. They actually were oriented at that time in their life toward Buddhism and have given a translation of his poems, those ones that he did early in his life, that are their translations are sort of more oriented toward a Buddhist kind of perspective, which many people appreciate and which other people on Amazon, I guess, have criticized. But anyhow, I may or may not do more of Rilke's stuff in the future. I am focusing, of course, continuing on the Lotus Sutra in various ways. The Minnesota Zen Center has done a description of the Lotus that I'm reciting. They, by the way, have been fantastic in doing summaries also of many other Buddhist scriptures, and I put the reference to their website on any of the videos that I've uploaded with their content. In terms of the Sutra of Perfect Enlightenment or Sutra of Complete Enlightenment, Kiwa, Kihwa, he's a Son or a Korean monk. Son, I guess, is the same meaning as Zen in Japan. And I'm taking some snippets out of his commentary on the Sutra of Perfect Enlightenment. I've pretty much exhausted what Harold Stewart has to say about Jodoshu or Pure Land Buddhism and also Shinshu or True Pure Land Buddhism. But I think I will go back and do some of his comments on Tendai or Tentai. And I'm doing other snippets pertaining to that tremendously important school in China and then later in Japan that put its primary emphasis on the Lotus Sutra and that later spawned the traditions of Zen, Nichirenism, Pure Land, etc. So anyhow, I really like Stewart's writing. He's basically a poet, I think, and a Westerner, but he gives some good descriptions of some of these Buddhist traditions. I've not yet completed, I think it's called the Yogacara Bhumi Sastra. I'm continuing to do that. I'm not as much personally into it, so to speak, but I will continue with that project, as well as Nagarjuna's Karikas, or his fundamental verses on the middle way. And there again, I give credit to anybody out there who can fathom or understand what he's trying to communicate on a verse-by-verse basis, although the overall thrust is clear that he's saying the nature of reality is empty, and even emptiness is empty. So it's really the foundation for Mahayana Buddhism in general, and certainly is one of the major emphases in the Prajnaparamita Sutras. And again, I will be reciting other versions of the Prajnaparamita Sutras. Particularly, I want to go to Mueller's early rendition or translation of the Diamond Sutra. I love the Diamond Sutra. I just think it has so much to offer in terms of helping to jar us out of our ordinary complacency as far as how we view reality, and that and the Heart Sutra, and of course other Prajnaparamita Sutras or Wisdom Sutras are just the epitome of that kind of potential. The diamond cutter, it cuts through our doubts, cuts through our ordinary vision of what we see as real and true in order to expose the real truth. So anyhow, there are a couple of other things. Oh, those Jataka tales, which I've labeled in a playlist for children, but I'm getting some thumbs up on those, and apparently some others of you like those. These are particular translations by a woman who you might be interested in actually looking up her biography. She was a woman of Indian heritage, but who I think her family went to Great Britain, and she was a bit of a heroine in the Second World War. The Dhamma, the Chinese Dhammapada, I'm just pulling out edited excerpts from the verse portions in the BDK translation. Some of you were wanting to hear some of those, and so I'm continuing to find ones that I think would have meaning in terms of just sort of, again, brief video uploads of those. Also, in terms of Shin Buddhism, I have gotten toward the end of volume 1 of the 2-volume series, which contains Shinran's writings, and I'm also coming closer to the end of the 2nd volume, which has analyses of Shinran's thinking, his insights into the Pure Land, and also into the nature of reality, and into the nature of our spiritual experience, which certainly resonates with me, and apparently with many others that are viewing my videos on my channel. Longer term, there's a possibility I might tackle some of the Nirvana Sutra, as well as the Surangama Sutra, but we'll see what happens in that regard. But in the meantime, I want to certainly express gratitude to any of you who are watching my videos, and in particular to those who take the time to give me a comment or a word of encouragement, or those who help to flesh out meaning based on their own interpretations and understandings of things that I've posted, and those two who have critical comments and who want to challenge different aspects of the content of what I've put up there. But in the meantime, my basic message is Namo Mitabolso, Namo Mitabolso, Namo Mitabolso.